Today I'm going to show you how to make a cheesy chicken cauliflower casserole in the Instant Pot. Hey again guys, so today I'm making something that this is actually the first time making it, which is unusual because I usually don't like to film stuff when we first make it just because I want to try it and see how it is before filming, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be really good just because of the ingredients, all the ingredients we love, and I want to try to get more cooking videos out for you all. Just make sure to check down in the description. I will leave a link to the recipe that I'm using that includes all the ingredients, measurements, and the directions of how to do it. We're going to make this in the Instant Pot, but what we're going to do is we're going to cook this on the slow cooker setting on the Instant Pot. I have not used this setting yet with the Instant Pot, so this will be a first as well. This recipe calls for chicken. I'm going to be using chicken thighs. It does call for this to be cooked, so we're going to go ahead and cook this up. I'm going to cook this on our saute mode, so we'll get that turned on. It's normal 30 minutes is the standard it comes on. I'm gonna put a little bit of ghee to saute and cook the chicken thighs in, and you can use whatever kind of chicken you want. You could even buy a rotisserie chicken and use that, cut it up and use that. But we're gonna be cooking our chicken today. We're gonna let this heat up, let that ghee melt. One thing I really like about this recipe, it has very minimal ingredients, which is always a plus when you're out on the road. My ghee is melted, so we're ready to add the chicken thighs. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add these straight in here. I feel like they'll be a little bit easier to cut up once they're cooked. So we'll get these all cooked and then we'll dice them up and continue from there. Just gonna do some light seasoning on the chicken. All I'm gonna use is pepper and all-season salt. And just add that in. And like I said, for this recipe, you can use any kind of chicken you want. If you want to use chicken breast, you can get a rotisserie chicken and use that. We just prefer chicken thighs just because we feel that they're a little bit juicier. They're not so dry. So I'm just flipping these now, and I'm going to season both sides of the chicken. So our chicken is all done cooking. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to set it aside for just a moment to cool before I cut it, or dice it, I should say. And as that's cooling, I'm going to do my next step. Now, this recipe calls for riced cauliflower, which you can rice yourself from a head of cauliflower. I think I've showed that before. It's really easy to do with like a cheese grater or a food processor if you have one of those. You can also buy riced cauliflower in the supermarket, usually in the freezer section. I have seen it in the fresh produce at some stores. I don't have riced cauliflower, I just have regular cauliflower. So what I'm going to do while this is cooling, I'm gonna chop this up, and that's gonna substitute for my riced cauliflower. I did, since this is frozen, I did take it out of the freezer a couple hours ago just to let it get a little bit defrosted so I could chop it up a little easier. And I'm not going to be too stickler on how small the chops are. It's going to cook all the same. I don't mind if there's some bigger florets of the cauliflower in there. I'm just going to give it a quick chop through. And this also calls for 4 cups of riced cauliflower, which is equivalent to 2 of these bags. So that's why I have 2 of those out that we're going to be using today. All right, I mean, that's good. It's not as small as the riced cauliflower is, but it's gonna work just fine. So I need to do this to both bags. So here's all our cauliflower, and again, I just kind of roughly chopped it. I didn't chop it too fine. You can chop it to however finely you like, or again, use rice cauliflower, which is a much finer chop than what I did. So now our chicken has cooled some. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna dice the chicken. And now that it's cooked, it's much easier to cut than trying to cut it while it was raw. At least with my knives, anyway. I don't have the best knives.
We need to get some Ginsu knives.
I do have Jason sharpen them for me every so often, and that does help. But I'm just kind of roughly dicing the chicken. Be careful, you know, if your chicken is still a little warm, don't burn yourself when you're doing this. You could also cook your chicken before, or even, like I said, use a rotisserie chicken, or if you cooked chicken for something else and you have leftover chicken, this would be a great recipe to use that in as well. All right, so we've got that chopped pretty good, at least to my liking. The next step we're gonna do is we're gonna get the sauce made and then add all of our ingredients to it. So let's do that. The recipe calls to combine these ingredients in a mixer or a separate bowl. I'm going to just do everything in the Instant Pot, and that is one of the things I have found that I really like about the Instant Pot is just using one pot for everything. I'm not dirtying up a bunch of bowls. So we're gonna do the cream mixture. So what we're gonna start with is we're gonna start with sour cream. This calls for 1 cup of sour cream, which is about what I have left in this container. So we're just gonna put all of that down here into our Instant Pot. And I did leave all of the remnants from the chicken. I didn't clean that out. I just feel like that's just gonna give it a little bit of added flavor to our casserole. And if y'all have noticed, I do follow recipes, but then I kind of make it our own and kind of adapt it to what we have on the truck. I might substitute, and yeah, I'm sure a lot of you do that as well. Next, it calls for 8 ounces of cream cheese, which is this whole block of cream cheese. There we go. And it does call for the cream cheese to be softened, which mine is pretty softened. And I do feel like since the Instant Pot is still a little warm, that'll help for me to combine this since I don't really have a mixer to do it with. Next, we're gonna add 2 eggs. Trying not to make a mess, ooh, like I usually do. Eggs, I can never do it without making a mess. Last thing we're gonna add to this is our poultry seasoning, and this calls for 1.5 teaspoons of poultry seasoning. That's 1.5. And we're just gonna combine this best that we can. And again, it does call to put this in a mixture and mix it. I don't have a mixer. I mean, I do have my what is that, NutriBullet? What is that thing called? The
NutriBullet?
Yeah, NutriBullet that I blend my coffee with. So I guess I might have could have used that, but
it looks like you're doing a pretty good job right there.
Yeah. I mean, the hardest part to get combined is the cream cheese, really, because it's so solid. All right, so we've got this all pretty much mixed together. I do still have a little bit of clumps of cream cheese, but as it cooks in the slow cooker mode, that's gonna get melted in anyway. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna add our cauliflower and chicken. We're just gonna dump everything in to our sauce mixture. And I'm hoping, you know, cauliflower can be watery, and especially when it's frozen. Hopefully it's not too watery once it's done cooking. It does call for salt and pepper, and it's just basically salt and pepper to taste. So we're just gonna salt and pepper this up. And what I did do on the sauce, just a little tip, since like I said, I don't have a mixer, is I did turn the Instant Pot back on to saute mode just to heat the sauce up a little bit to get that cream cheese more melted and blended in with the sour cream and egg. So now what we're gonna do is just gonna mix all of this together. Wow, it looks good. Get it mixed. All right, that looks good and mixed to me. So I'm just gonna kind of get this kind of even in here. And the last step before we cook is to top this with cheese. It calls for 2 cups of cheese. I'm using sharp cheddar. I have a little bit left in this bag, and then I do have another bag here. So let's get this topped. And a lot of times, guys, I don't actually just measure out my cheese. I kind of eyeball it. I think I've told y'all before we like cheese. So this may be a little bit more or less of 2 cups. I don't know. You can't ever have too much cheese, I think. Comment down below if you like cheese and how much you like it. What's your favorite kind of cheese? All right, that looks really good. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook this on high for 2 to 3 hours. So again, I have not tried the slow cooker mode on the Instant Pot, so this will be a first for me to try.
See if she can put it on.
Oops,
right.
I got it backwards. All right, so we wanna make sure we are in sealing mode. We're gonna come here, we're gonna select slow cooker. Let's do 2.5 hours. It's gonna cook for 2.5 hours, and then we'll come back and see what the finished product is. All right, guys, so I've cooked this on the slow cooker mode for right at about 3 hours. One thing, after I had started it, I started it on normal, which I realized after looking at the instruction manual that that is just like a medium setting and it needed to be on high. So I did stop it and put it on more, which is the high setting, the high slow cooker setting. Let's take a look and see what this looks like. It might steam up the camera. Ooh, yummy. Wow, it looks and smells good. All right, let's get some of this out and we'll do a taste test and see how it is. Like I said, this is the first time we're trying it. Oh yeah, it doesn't seem like it's too runny either. I was worried about that with the frozen cauliflower. So we'll get a little bit out here. That's what it looks like. I'm just gonna get a little bit to try. I'm gonna let this cool for just a moment and we'll try it and let you know how it is. Oh, that's good. Yummy. That was the cheesy chicken cauliflower casserole, and I have to say it is very, very yummy. I will make it again. What is your consensus, babe?
Oh yeah.
One thing I think you could do to make it your own is that you could add some things to it. Like I was even thinking about next time maybe adding some frozen peas or even a few different spices to it to change it up. But overall it is really good. It turned out really good, so I do recommend making it. Make sure to check the description box for the full recipe that I used. And if you are gonna try it, leave me a comment down below and let me know. Thank you guys as always for watching and subscribing. And until our next video, peace, love, and expediting.